This work is hugely important in the public sector for a handful of reasons. Number one, there's sometimes a dichotomy between public and private sector jobs, and sometimes there are reputations or and unfounded in some cases that public sector jobs are like this and private sector you can expect this. And one of them is probably that public sector doesn't pay the way the private sector can. And I know that it was eye-opening for me looking at some of the public sector job salaries and the breadth of what is offered, that it really is competitive with the private sector. And so debunking some of the myths around what public sector entails and what the limitations might be, I think is very important. It's obviously important that our public sector continues to thrive. There are so many, and the public sector encompasses so many different realms, but so much of that is vitally important to society. So, we look at that. Some of them are emergency response and law enforcement, and if it's not that, even it's in some cases it's public health care. I mean, so it's those types of the criticality that those are functional, and just even looking at cybersecurity in this to make sure they won't be hacked and held ransom and all of the bad things that can happen with technology, that we've got a strong, robust, skilled, top line team at every public sector office that's making sure that they have the same protections, but also the same functionality on the less negative side. But so it's just important that it serves such a role, and it can get overlooked. I know at times in my career, I looked at a job, and I started my career working in the Department of Labor, so I know a bit of which I speak. But that later on, I was looking at jobs. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to go back into the public sector, but that's just based on some sort of negative energy that might exist around the public sector. And so it is important to really get to the root of what we're talking about and look at this, these jobs for what they are, and so to sort of reveal that they are in many cases as good as any jobs out there, and they need the same attention to talent that anyone in the public sector and the private sector does.